Okay, hello everybody. Thank you for the introduction. So I'm engineer in Status Network. We are a first gasless rollup natively on a blockchain level. And I want to talk to you about how it's possible to actually have a blockchain that you don't have to pay gas on. So as I've said, I'm Filip. I'm a software engineer here. This is gonna be not too complicated talk, but I just want to do a little vibe check. So, who here knows why do we even pay gas for on the L1? Can you please raise your hand? Perfect. Okay. So, my first point is then gonna make a lot of sense to talk about, and after it, I'll want to talk if it's even possible to remove it. And I want to introduce you to something that we call karma. That's very unique to our network. So what do we even need gas for on blockchains? So this is a general definition that you would get if you Googled. So it's some unit of computation that you have to pay for in order for the network to actually run whatever you want to do in it. Let's see if it's something that's inconvenient simply for the sake of it, because it seems like in this space we are kind of masochistic. We like to overcomplicate things. But my argument is like there is a reason for it on L1s. So I want to introduce you to someone. This little fella here, that's Pumpy, he's our dragon. He wants to use Ethereum blockchain, and he has his private key ready. Okay, so he opens his wallet. He selects how much money he's ready to spend on his transaction, and how fast he wants it to be included. So he sends some money to the network. We wait. It's a 12-second block time on Ethereum. It's kind of slow. I can walk through the whole stage while waiting for it. But once completed, our transaction is definitely included. So Pumpy is a very happy dragon right now. But what would happen in scenario where Pumpy doesn't actually pay any gas? He doesn't pay any money, and there's a bunch of Pumpies who don't pay for anything, and they just start sending their transactions to the network. So thousands of transactions at once, no one paying for it. Well, suddenly you'll have a very unstable network, which is tired, which is not able to pick up new transactions, where you cannot simply rely on it. This is something we call a denial of service attack. So if in a case that there's no protection on how many transactions can get into the network, it's very easy to actually attack it. So I hope I prove you that this is not the case. We don't like inconvenience for the sake of inconvenience. But I think it can be a bit different on rollups. But first things first, I'm not sure how much people in this room know about rollups, but from perspective of a user, rollups work pretty much the same. So we have our L1, Ethereum, we have some L2s, bunch of them, Linea, Status Network, Scroll, Arbitrum, whatever. We have our Pumpy the Dragon, and on all of these rollups, currently you pay some money to get your transaction included, which is later committed onto L1, right? It's much faster. The block time on rollups is usually 2 to 4 seconds. And Pumpy is happy. He paid much less money. His transactions got included much faster. But in a scenario where he wanted to not pay anything, as we can see here, bundled with that very fast block time, it's actually even a worse scenario. Your network can get attacked even more easily. It can fail much quicker, and you need a much more performant machine. So your network gets tired very fast. So how do we go from this to this? So let's see. But before we move, I just want to establish two things about rollups. I hope nobody kills me for this, but you need to remember an Ethereum equivalent L2, its client is very, very similar to ETH-L1 client, so it's very similar to get. And all ETH is usually sitting on a smart contract on L1. That's when we consider something a rollup. The security of the funds is protected by its validation mechanism, and it's simply sitting in one place, which is going to be important for later. So, is it even possible to remove gas? Are dentals cool? Look at this. Look at this. Of course it's cool. Yes, yes, gas can be removed. But I want just to take a step back. I want to tell a bit about who we are. So I am in Status Network. That's a team. We are part of a large organization called the Institute of Free Technology. We've been in the space since 2018, and we've built a bunch of tech to make all of these things possible. We are makers of Vacu, a P2P messaging protocol, Codex, P2P storage, Nimbus, the third largest ETH2 client, Keycard. We have a hardware wallet, Status, our super app that has messaging, and that's actually something I want to talk a bit more about. So, what's happening here? So we have a fully decentralized chatting application. Every phone device is talking with each other. So there's no centralized server like Telegram or Signal or anything like that. It's very censorship resistant. But to do that and still have free messages, so for someone to not pay for their messages to be sent while still being a decentralized network, we had to develop something we call RLN to protect the messaging from DOS attacks. And we've come up with an idea. Hey, if it works in messaging, why wouldn't it work on a blockchain level? So, quickly, RLN is a zero-knowledge system designed to prevent spam, and it replaces economic incentives via fees with cryptographic proofs. And how does that work? We use something called Shamir's secret sharing and nullifiers, where if Pumpy, he decides to spam the network, his secrets are going to get exposed by everybody else. So he's going to be sad, and people will be able to take funds from him. And if he's a bad actor, not only is he going to lose money, he's going to have to pay higher costs for gas in the future, and he's also going to be included on the denial list. So he will not be able to participate in the network anymore. Okay, so how does it work now? Here's our Pumpy. He still has his private key. But now, instead of sending money, he sends cryptographic proofs that he's able to make a new transaction on the network. And just quickly, for more technical folks, I know the quality is not the greatest of this image, but basically, you, the user, you send a transaction to your RPC, which sends a request to the prover to create a proof for your new transaction to be included for RLN, and it sends that transaction to the pool into the sequencer, which checks if you're eligible for those free transactions and if you're under the spam limit. If everything is fine, then you just get included into the network for free. Otherwise, you may pay premium gas or you may be declined completely. So, we've solved DOS protection, right? But that's not the only thing that gas exists. So we need to have revenue for the network. So in context of L1s, you're not just protecting from spam, you also need to pay the miners to actually operate the network. Same for rollups. Someone is running those sequencer provers, etc. But long term, in rollup space, fees are a race to zero. So quickly, in a rollup, what do we even pay for? On L1, it's simple. We pay for execution, and that's it. It gets included. But on an L2, we need to pay for settlement. So we need to run that prover, which is going to make the ZK proof for your transaction to be included. That needs to be posted. And all of the transaction data that allows for the rollup to be rebuilt later, that also needs to be committed on-chain. So there's actually three things that are being paid by gas here. We cannot just eliminate them. They simply have to exist. And those are the things you have to pay for. So those are these two. And lots of rollups, you'll see they'll optionally charge some fees for spam protection to increase the stake you need to actually use the network. They'll actually charge to get more profit for them. And potentially, if there's current congestion in the network, they'll charge higher fees for you to be included. And you'll see, they've been making a lot of money. It's been a very good business. You can see base chain operating very successfully with net margin of profits being $1.11 million. But why? Why cannot that be shared with rest of the network, with rest of the users? Especially now, like you see actually rollup fees. So most of those money made was before EIP 4844. That happened sometime around first half of 24. And it's even smaller now after Petra. So actually execution fee, settlement fee is still pretty cheap. So it makes sense now to actually introduce a rollup which operationally doesn't need much funds to run on and simply charge zero gas. Actually, we have testnet which you can use. It's live. And you can see here, this is simple ETH transfer transaction where zero gas was actually charged and you didn't have to pay for anything. So imagine a rollup which actually shares all of its funds with everybody. But we just saw like the profit is like almost zero now. How can a rollup actually still make money to pay for other things? There are actually a few other revenue streams that are going to be becoming increasingly more popular. One of which is the native yield-bearing bridge, which we've seen more popularly with Blast, and now, as of recently, with Katana. Native apps revenue sharing. L2s, which prioritize having their own ecosystem of apps, which are endorsed, they actually charge fees on using those, using the DEX, using CDP, using the NFT marketplace, whatever. And those native apps can actually have revenue sharing. So that's one more stream of income. Premium gas sequencer fees. So some rollups are still charging this profit margin. And in our case, if you're outside of your limits under RLN, you'll be able to use the network, but you'll just have to pay premium gas, which can be, again, shared with the rest of the network to pay operational fees. So it seems like it's possible, right? We solved two problems. We solved DOS protection, and we solved the funding of the network. But we still need to manage it somehow. We still need to decide how much fees someone is eligible to spend, how much transactions can someone actually send out to the network. We need to have a way on how to allocate these funds. So let's see how. Introducing Karma. Karma is a non-transferable, soul-bound fungible token. And it's used for gas steering, so for deciding how much transactions is user going to be eligible for. It's used for network-wide civil protection and something called public funding pool, which I will talk about soon. So here's how you'll see your Karma in your hub. You have some Karma accrued. There's a point tiering system. For each tiering system, you have more and more rewards, like on a gas station, for example. So if you're level 1, you'll probably have 1 transaction per few minutes. If you're level 2, you'll have few transactions under a second. If you're level 5, you're a power user, you'll be able to do high-frequency trading for free. And here's our little dragon, which now sends proofs and sends Karma. I mean, he doesn't send Karma. Karma is his. Karma is just a pointing system, which is going to be used for deciding if he is able to use the network for free or not. So Pompey here is a level 3. He's sending us fee 0, Hotel Trivago, of course. And he'll be able to get his transaction validated and included. But in a scenario where Karma is 0, his tier level 0, and he's trying to spend 0 money on gas, well, he's simply not going to be included. So I just need help with an experiment. Follow my lead, please. Okay, thank you. So what we just did was a coordination mechanism. So we've all now successfully, without saying anything, we're able to just clap our hands. And coordination mechanisms are very important in any structure, in any ecosystem. There simply needs to be a way on how to coordinate funds, for example, how to coordinate what's going to happen, the direction of everything. And we here doing that with something we call the public funding pool. So if you remember previously, public funding pool, we have all of these revenue streams, and all of those revenue streams, they are going to be sent into the public funding pool. So native DEX, native fees, LP provision, anything made from staking ETH on the bridge, NFT marketplace fees, whatever, all of those are sent into the public funding pool, and the allocation of the public funding pool is allocated by Karma holders. And how does one acquire Karma? So by using the network, the more you use the network, it makes more sense for you to have more ownership of the network, to be able to say, hey, I want the funds from the public funding pool to go to this protocol, that protocol, whatever. And it also makes sense for you to actually be able to use the network even more. By providing liquidity, when you provide liquidity, you're actually directly benefiting the network. So it's getting back to you. You provide some value, you get value back. Staking S&T. If you're patient and you support this ecosystem long term, well, you're going to be rewarded for that, right? And there's going to be many more ways to come. So yeah, thank you for listening to this talk. I hope you now have a glimpse of the gasless future. And I'm ready to take any questions. Yep.
Hi. Basically, I think that, can you explain the difference? I think that the scenario in here is similar to the scenario in the when we pay gas. So in this scenario, we need liquidity for karma, and we need karma for transactions. If I need liquidity in standard chains, I can stake money and got some staking rewards, and I can pay gas from these. So if we need some liquidity for transactions, I think this is the same scenario, because in the other scenario we also with liquidity we can get money and we can pay our gas costs with this money. And in this scenario we get some karma from liquidity, and we can get transactions with karma, right?
So yeah, but it's not the only way for you to acquire karma. You actually you can just actually just do a CAPTCHA, and we're gonna give you your entry karma. So we're making sure that even if you don't have any funds, you're able to enter the network. So that's also the part where Sybil restriction comes in. So yeah, of course, if you provide liquidity, you're gonna get more karma, and you're gonna be eligible for more. But the whole point is making the UX as simple for someone who doesn't have any funds. So you do a CAPTCHA, you get one karma, and that's enough for you to do one transaction per minute, for example.
But in the CAPTCHA case, an attacker can build a DDoS attack. He can with artificial intelligence he can create thousands of users, artificial users, and they solve the CAPTCHA, and they make synthetic transactions to make denial of service.
Yeah, so that's why we make sure to that entry point to keep it of good quality to prevent those attacks. But I agree, like if it's gamed,
I think that the CAPTCHA.
I gave it as a simple example. Like
CAPTCHA can solve the problem. At some point, we need liquidity. I think, and when we need liquidity, we came back to starting point.
If you enter the network and you used it, that's also one way, right?
Yes.
To get your karma, and you can actually come to same number of karma as someone who just stake money. Yeah. But yeah, that's just one of the entry points. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I have a couple of questions quickly. Yep. Number one, can we have more stories about Pajic?
About Pumpy, yeah, he's a fun little dragon. He started existing, I think, in April this year, and this is his friend Santi.
Okay, thank you. So you also said you use Shamir secret sharing to expose the private key of, is it the private key?
So not the private key of a wallet, but sorry, let me just go to, I think I have some better slide.
Because I'm curious about how do you expose whatever it is you're exposing if it's done several times within a minute? What's the mechanism there?
So in Karma contract,
yeah, I mean
there's
Oh, okay, it's in the contract.
So Karma is a contract, and it's able to be slashed. So it's non-transferable, but it's able to be slashed in case you spam the network. The sequencer determines, hey, he's spamming the network. He went over his rate limits, which are also defined in the smart contract based on tiers of karma, and your proof gets invalidated, your key gets exposed, and with that key, I can slash your current karma.
But how is the key exposed? I mean, where's the Shamir secret sharing being used exactly?
In the smart contract.
Okay, but you don't have more details on like the mechanism through which.
I don't have a proper slide to explain it.
Okay, that's fine. I can ask you afterwards.
Yeah.
Any final questions?
I don't use mic. This is going to a general question, but where do you think if a student should start in their want-to-purpose degree in this file?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
It's going to be general question, but where do you think a student should start if they want to purpose a major is this file?
Where should a student start if they want to pursue what? If they want to pursue a degree in this field, if they want to become like more of an expert in this as a student, what should they study?
Okay. So what are you majoring in? Okay, so depends what you want to do. If you want to do, in any case, you're going to do general computer science, like enter that degree. But now classes which you're going to be focusing on depends on in which direction you want to go. So if you want to go more into protocol side, into distributed development, take those classes. And that's general blockchain development. If you're more interested into ZK, into research, into science, take more math classes, because that's going to be very, very powerful for you later on.
Yeah.
And of course, join into local communities like Amazing ETHIstanbul. Like you'll be surprised how many developers and people in the Web3 community are all around the world. And in Turkey, like there's actually a booming community. Maybe there's not so many companies explicitly doing Web3 that are located. There's a bunch of individual contributors in Istanbul.
Lovely. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.